Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Beth.
Thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me. And I'm very excited to learn more about your new venture.
Sure, happy to share my ideas and experiences.
Okay, so let me know, I'm really curious. Why did you start your public speaking venture? It's a new business for you.
It is a new business. It's my fourth new business over the last 20 years. And the reason I started was mainly because there was a demand. And unlike other businesses where I've created the demand, in this case, there was a demand there already. And people were approaching me because they knew of my experience and my skill and knowledge in the area of that business. And they were approaching me to see if I would do training and, more importantly, pay me for it as well. So I saw there was a demand. I saw there was people willing to pay for the service. And I thought, let's turn what was originally a hobby for the last 36 years, let's turn that hobby into a paying business. And that's really how it started.
I see. I love the part that you're doing something that you enjoy, it's your hobby, and you get
Yeah.
paid for it.
It's the best feeling you can ever have. But on that point, I also believe, and I often hear people who are in their business or wherever they're even in their paid work, that they're not always very happy, and they make complaints or they want to leave. And I always say, no matter what your job is, that you really should try to enjoy it. Otherwise, don't do it. And I've enjoyed every job from sweeping streets or sweeping factory floors to filling bags of sand at garden centres as a student. I've always tried to enjoy or find some element which I find helpful or find enjoyable so that I can continue to work. And I think having a passion and enjoying what you do, no matter what the job is really essential to keeping you in that business.
Totally agree with you. So then, now that I know you start this is a new business, can you tell me how long has it been? Is it recently this year, or when do you start this new venture?
I think the first time I actually got paid for speaking was probably about 12 years ago. And then regularly I was getting paid. I didn't actually convert it to a business until the last, I think officially about 3 years ago was when I first registered it as a business. And it's only been in the last year where it's become one of the sort of major funds or major sources of income for me as an ongoing concern.
I see. So I understand that you have applied some lessons which you learned from other business, because you mentioned this is your fourth business. So can you
Yeah,
give me a few examples?
yeah, sure. With my first business, uh, the business was a new idea, and one of the things I learned from that new idea was you have to put the word out, you have to promote, and this is what I did with this new business as well. It takes a lot of publicity, it takes a lot of work to get your name out, let people know. So whenever I do have the chance, I make sure people know what I do,
Mm-hmm.
and I build that into my introductions. So one of the first things I do is always make sure people know that this is my business,
Mm-hmm.
and it's top of mind for me and top of mind for the people I talk to, whether it's a social setting or a business. So that was the one trick I learned, was to be always self-promoting. And
Okay.
that's sometimes hard, especially in Asia, where we don't always feel we want to self-promote.
Yes.
But in other countries as well, even the English aren't that keen on boasting too much. But I think you really have to sell yourself as
Mm-hmm.
if you're a bottle of shampoo. So the first thing was to learn how to self-promote. And the second thing was to be very careful about costs. And again, this stems from one of my first businesses and a piece of advice I had from a very successful entrepreneur. And he said, Brian, the one trick you must remember is to start counting the paper clips. And I didn't really know what he meant. He said, count the paper clips. And then I realized what he means is that you have to look at every expense, every dollar, even down to a paper clip. And so often when we're in someone else's business, You know, we use the photocopier, we use the paper clips, we use all their resources. We don't care. It's not ours, we're not paying for it. But when it's your own business, it really does pay to look at your costs, not just paper clips, of course, but to look at how effective your advertising is, look how many people you really need, look at your office space. I think, you know, luckily I was at a stage where I could have my own office, but if I was starting off again, I would reduce those costs and share an office or get my own office space. So it's important to look at cost as well. So it's promotion and it's costs. And then the final and third thing I'll say would be to keep your passion. And I think something else I learned is this passion for doing something which I like, or make myself like it as well. And that carries through when you deal with your customers, is they can see you're passionate about it, see you love it, then you get good word of mouth and you can get more customers.
Wow. Brian, I really enjoyed this 3 tips that you share. And then when you say paper clips, I have some guesses in my mind, and you really surprised me. Paper clips actually is remind us to keep the cost, I guess, not down, you know, with a reasonable.
Yes.
Yes. So what risk have you taken for this new public speaking business?
In my particular case, I think the risk was I already have another business. And so my risk was, you know, how much time do I divert from the one business to the second business? That was a little bit of a risk for me. I managed to handle it just by doing wherever the business came and wait till I come to a problem where I can't do both. So I'm just trying to manage it better, manage my time better, and manage my effort better as well. So the risk was just in diverting my time. The other risk, very little really, because I had realized what was needed. And my particular business, because it's a service, it's not so capital intensive. My other business is more capital intensive, and that's more riskier. This business, public speaking business, is really just my own skill and knowledge I'm passing on, very little, and any promotional cost which I use as well. So the risk I've tried to keep to a minimum. There's always risk, of course, but I try to keep it within reasonable bounds that I know I can manage.
So, Brian, you raised a very good point. It's about time management, because you have multiple businesses. Can you share a specific real example how you manage and handle both businesses or multiple businesses well?
Yeah, sure. What I like to do is to, first of all, do things as they come in. So if I get a question or if I get a response from a customer, I try to reply to it as immediately as I can do. I would like to say that I'm probably 7 days a week, 24 hours, because I will do work at home. I will do work when I'm traveling. I'll do work whenever. I don't have my strict boundaries. But I don't see it as work because the passion is there. I see it as something I enjoy, and so I get involved in it. I'm always happy to respond to people whenever they get it. And I found that actually that is appreciated by people if you can respond to their request, and they're quite shocked usually, and it gives you good points. Same way I would feel. I'd put myself in the way of being a customer myself. How would I feel if someone can respond to me very quickly? So in time management there, I make sure I answer as soon as I can do, not let things build up. I also will try and, if I can, try and condense times when I really have to be in the office, for example. So if I know that certain times I will be traveling, then I try and put everything else into a day I'm not traveling. But I'm quite keen on using my diary and really prioritizing events. And at the same time, I never feel like I'm working. I'm happy not to take a holiday. I actually don't necessarily like holidays. Over 7 days, I just get totally bored. And even on a holiday, I remember once being on a holiday in Fiji on an island with no Wi-Fi. After 2 days, I just really had to get off the island and get Wi-Fi. So I like my work, so I don't see it as work. And so in that ways, I can manage my time quite well.
I can tell you definitely have a good system to manage your time. Especially, I have to say you have my really. I'm envious that you are very happy doing what you're doing and 24/7 doesn't mind all that. Mhm.
I think you have to. I think if it's your business, you have to devote the energy to it if you want it to be successful. Although saying that, I know I could be even more active if I push myself. I don't think I'm pushing myself to the limit at the moment. This fourth business has not been as hard work as the first business.
Mm-hmm.
And the first business, maybe because it was a new idea, a new concept, I was having to introduce the whole concept, the idea. This last business, I say it's my last, it may not be my last, but this business, I feel that it's not as hard to promote because it's a service which people really want.
Mm-hmm. Your passion definitely come through. So I think that's the main one of the key success factors as well. Now I'm curious to know what are the little things you did to get you where you are now.
Okay. One little things which I also advise people if they're starting off in their new business, and I read it in a book. None of my ideas are just from me. I read ideas, I get ideas. If your system was around when I was starting my business, I'd be watching this as well. Mm-hmm. What I learned quite early on was that if you can, just get your name out there and even give free service. It's like a lost leader. So when I first started my business, one of the small things I did was I donated my time to either to schools or universities, or as I do now, I often give like a charity voucher. So when people are having an event, the 500 people at the event, they'll raffle off or auction off my service, which I'll give for free. But for me, that's a good publicity. So wherever I can, I look for free publicity. If I'm writing letters or writing articles for newspapers or doing interviews. So that's one of the small things I did. And then secondly was to make sure that I try to, as I said before, get my message out as often as I can to people whenever I see them. I have that in my introduction. This is what I do. So people remember me. Even if I'm in a supermarket, I will get it across. This is what my business is.
Good tip. Good tip. I like that. The little thing actually is a big thing because you are giving or sponsoring your time and resources and for free events and helping others. I really admire what you're doing, Brian.
Thank you.
So what is your vision for where you're going in your new public speaking venture?
Okay. I'm at a crossroads in some ways right now. And I do like to have a 5-year plan. I do like to put down what I want to do. My crossroads is to decide, and I think other businesses will do that as well, whether or not you take on a partner. And that would be one vision to make it grow. If you're doing your own service, and in my case, the service very much relies on me, as I'm the one that's providing it, you then take on other people to expand your business. And there's always a risk that if you do they operate it in the way you want it to be operated in? Do you share it equally? And do you trust the person you take on? So for me, the vision of the future is to grow. How can I grow much bigger? There's only one of me, and it's how to do that. And I think that's where modern technology can help, because there is one of me, but there's, as we're proving here, there's many ways to reach many people at one time. So the vision is to grow it bigger, to reach more people, but also to be in control of that business as it goes forward.
Well, that made me thinking. I may reach out to you for something else.
You're welcome. Anytime.
So, Brian, we have covered quite a bit in this conversation. It's awesome to catch up again after years of not seeing each other or chatting. So before we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to chat about?
Yeah, I think one thing that's important for any new business, so any of your watchers here who are thinking about a new business or already in a new business, I think as well as passion, which we mentioned, it's to be positive,
Yes.
to always think you can make the next deal, to think that you can succeed. Because the moment you have any self-doubt, that's when you will fail. And it's very lonely being an entrepreneur.
I agree.
If you're lonely being a boss, you can get advice from other people, but at the very end of the day, it's you that makes the decision. So it's a lonely position, and you have to really be positive that what decision you do make is the right decision. And I also feel that, take the step. Everyone I meet, I encourage them to do their own business, to start their own business, be their own boss, even trying it. And if they fail, okay, they can go back to corporate life. But I left corporate life almost 20 years ago, and no regrets at all. No regrets in that, you can do it, but be positive, have that passion, and see.
I agree with you 100% because, as you may know, I ran a consulting business when I was in Hong Kong. So I understand the loneliness, making all the decision myself because, like you said, to be an entrepreneur, unless you have a partner, you will always be making your own decision.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a long but happy road, I hope.
Totally. Thank you again, Brian, for taking the time to chat with me today and for being so patient and answering my questions. So I wish you all the very best in your new venture, and I'm looking forward to sharing your updates.
Thank you, Beth. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.